handled by the DCI headquarters, noting that during meter interview in Nandi County, the CCIO stated that the governor was not aware of this illegality, yet investigations are still ongoing, and up to now, no one has been arraigned in court of law. Mr. Speaker, looking at these offenses and by the Nandi County Assembly's MCAs, these are serious grounds to impeach the governor. Mr. Speaker, sir, in finality, for health care services to be restored, roads to be fixed, wage bill to be sorted, and development to be realized in Nandi County, Sang must go and must be impeached. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Statement pursuant to Standing Order 53-1, Honorable Senator Richard Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the Integrated Health Information Technology System, IHTS, project of the Social Health Authority, which aims to digitize Kenya's health infrastructure by interconnecting patients, doctors, hospitals, and health services on a unified platform. Mr. Speaker, the system is going to be worth over 104 billion shillings annually, and it was awarded to a consortium comprising of Safaricom, Apiero Limited, and Convergence Network Solutions. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to explain the ownership model for the Integrated Health Information Technology System and state whether National Security System Assessment was done considering that this system will connect our country's health infrastructure, including patients, doctors, hospitals, health products, and health financing on this unified platform. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I hope that the committee will be able to explain how a foreign entity was engaged to leverage the country's health system. Number three, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to outline the distinct roles and responsibilities between the Ministry of Health, the Social Health Authority, in the procurement and oversight of the IHTS system, specifying the monthly payment terms that have been agreed upon between the consortium and the Ministry of Health, SHA, and whether these payments are linked to the performance matrices or milestones achievable. Number four, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to find out whether there's a detailed specific improvements in our healthcare delivery and patient outcomes expected by the Ministry of Health following the implementation of the IHTS system. Number five, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to provide details of the consortium of Safaricom.
Order, Honorable Senators. May Senator Onyonka be heard in silence, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Provide the details of the consortium, Safaricom, Apiero Limited, Convergence Network Systems, and the roles of each partner in delivering the IHTS system consolidated fund, which will be used if premiums are inadequate to meet the contracted amounts. Number seven, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to state the measures in place to mitigate delays during this rollout, especially in rural areas with limited infrastructure, and indicate the contingencies or penalties in which the consortium, if it fails to deliver in time or to meet performance targets, on what responsibilities they'll hold. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I would state that I would want the committee to provide us the projected timeline for completing critical milestones such as delivering the 7,000 tablets and 5,000 laptops, which they have promised to deliver. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Haji Abdul.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget regarding the financial operations of county public service boards. In the statement, the committee should provide a list of county governments across all 47 counties that have appointed and designated secretaries of the county public service boards as accounting officers, pursuant to provisions of Section 148 of the Public Finance Management Act. 2, disclose the total budgetary allocations to each county public service board from financial year 2014-2015 to date, and provide their respective approved budgets, including specific amounts allocated for each financial year. 3, state the actual amounts disbursed to each county public service board for each financial year since 2014 across all 47 county governments. And 4, outline any safeguards the National Treasury and Ministry of Economic Planning has established to ensure that the control of budget disperses funds on time to the county public service boards across all 47 county governments in accordance with the approved budget. Thank you.
What is your point of order? Certainly there cannot be a point of order, Senator Fatuma, unless you're seeking for clarification, intervention.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have had several statements on the floor of this House, and I think there are almost about 7 or 8 regarding on matters of Isiolo County, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the governor of Isiolo has completely refused to respond to the statements. That is number 1. Number 2, we have about 3 summonses before various committees of the House which he has refused to honor. Mr. Speaker, there is a summon before Committee of Finance. There is a summon before Committee of Labor. There was a summon before PAC where he was actually charged and he has refused to pay the fee. Mr. Speaker, he has refused also to honor the summon before Health Committee, where he has decided to take the Committee of Health to court to injunct them from actually taking any action against him. Mr. Speaker, on this particular one, we have our mortuary that has not been working for the last 1 year. Mr. Speaker, the Senate Committee of Public Health went to Isiolo to look at that particular mortuary. Mr. Speaker, today, our people are taking bodies to a neighboring county, where a neighboring county, Meru County, has refused to take bodies from Isiolo County. Mr. Speaker, there is also a statement before Devolution and Cohesion where he has completely refused. Mr. Speaker, I have written to you regarding the same. Today, all the hospitals in Isiolo County are closed down because the nurses, the clinical officers, all the technical staffs have put down their tools. Mr. Speaker, I have actually cried to this House, Isiolo is bleeding. Mr. Speaker, I need direction from you because it's unacceptable. And if this happens, Mr. Speaker, all the governors are going to be disrespectful to this particular House. Mr. Speaker, it is in public domain where the governor of Isiolo said he is not going to appear before Senate and nobody is taking him anywhere. Mr. Speaker, I have a motion before this House to stop budget going to Isiolo County, which I'm going to move on some of actually mismanagement and irregularities that are happening in Isiolo County. Mr. Speaker, kindly respond to my letter and give us direction on this particular matter because Isiolo today is shut down as far as service delivery is concerned. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Dulo. I will give my directions on the Isiolo matter first thing on Monday before we proceed with the Kericho governor impeachment. Senator Wakili Sige.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to request a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding the arbitrary withdrawal of health services allowance for certain health sector staff in the county of Bomet. Mr. Speaker, sir, this withdrawal has occurred on various dates throughout the year 2024, These allowances, which were duly budgeted for by the county and granted to the affected staff based on the appointment letters, have been arbitrarily rescinded. This has raised serious concerns about the criteria used to justify the withdrawal of these benefits. The action taken was taken without notice or any clear legal justification, raising broader concerns about the rights of health sector workers, the proper use of budgetary allocations, and the fairness of remuneration practices. Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should, 1, clarify the specific legal policy basis for the withdrawal of the health service allowance for the affected health sector staff, indicating the legal provisions, if any, that support this action and whether due process was followed. Secondly, explain the criteria used by the county government of Bomet to selectively withdraw the health service allowance. Thirdly, assess the implications of these withdrawals on the welfare of the affected staff, outlining any plans in place by the county government to address the financial and morale-related impacts on these workers. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, investigate whether and how these funds were reallocated, given that they had been budgeted for in the county budget, and outline any measures in place to ensure the transparency in the management of these funds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to read my statement on the loss of documents used to print title deeds. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Orders 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Lands, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the loss of security documents used to print title deeds by the government printers. Mr. Speaker, sir, this incident possesses a significant threat to the integrity of lands ownership documents in our country and could potentially lead to widespread land fraud. The Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development must take immediate and decisive action to address these critical issues. In the statement, the committee should, 1, explain the actions being taken to recover the stolen security papers used to print title deeds, as well as the measures implemented to track and retrieve these documents and prevent their misuse for fraudulent purposes. 2, present a progress report on the investigations concerning the theft of the said documents, focusing on identifying the individuals and land cartels involved, along with the strategies implemented to strengthen security protocols to the government printer and the pertinent institutions to avert similar occurrences in the future. 3, outline the steps taken by the State Department of Lands and Physical Planning to raise public awareness about the risks associated with land fraud and the importance of verifying the authenticity of the deeds and all other documents related to lands registration, including but not least
to survey plans, mutation forms, and deeds, and deed plans, and 4, appraise the Senate on the ministry's long-term plans to leverage modern technology while implementing protocols to protect paper title deeds from the damage, loss, and theft. Senator Agnes Kavindu MP, Senator Machakos County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chimera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a request for statement on roaming lions along Mackinnon Road in Kwale County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources concerning reported cases of lions roaming along Mackinnon Road in Kwale County. In the statement, the committee should, number 1, establish the circumstances that led to the lions escaping a natural habitat without the knowledge of Kenya Wildlife Service officers. Number 2, assess the damage inflicted by these lions on the local community and clarify whether compensation has been provided to the affected individuals. Number 3, state whether there are plans to involve local communities in conservation education programs aimed at raising awareness regarding coexistence with wildlife and the importance of timely reporting of such incidents to prevent further damages, injuries, and imminent fatalities. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, to outline any measures in place to mitigate human-wildlife conflicts nationwide to safeguard the safety of both the local communities and the wildlife. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Lominen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Energy on the persistent power blackouts and electricity rationing in Lodwar and other major towns in Turkana County. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite being home to the Takwel Gorge Hydroelectric Power Station, which generates 106 megawatts of electricity, major towns in Turkana County remains unconnected to the national grid and continue to rely on diesel generators for power. Just last week, 2 key diesel generators failed in Lodwar, leading to severe electricity rationing, with residents now receiving power for only 4 hours a day. These has crippled businesses, forced government offices and non-governmental organizations to cease operations and cause widespread disruption of businesses. Towns like Loktang have been without power for months, with no solution in sight, while Lokori and Lokchogyo face similar challenges. The economic impact